Right, so for that we gonna have some Maxis to be have their talk here, and then they will share about their experiences and maybe some advices for the upcoming hackathon, so that we can we can all make it to the first place. Alright, maybe. And then for today's it evolves like 30 minutes from each of the speakers, and then the Q&A. And then the most exciting part is that we gonna have a part where a person from Maxis will be talking for the Maxis Young Talent Program. So stay tuned on that, and let's just wait for another people so that we can all start together and nobody will be left behind. May I know if there's some of our students here from UM? Raise your hands. Okay, quite a lot of you came from outside UM. Raise your hands. Just want to know. Okay. Yeah, Maxis. Maxis is very, very good, you know. They have very good coverage in UM. Anyone else uses Maxis, I guess. And then, okay, so those who don't come from UM, where do you guys came from? Anyone want to share where they came from? If it's KTM, yeah, of course. Then that, we want to hear about the students coming from outside UM.
Well, I'm from UMS.
UMS, very far. Okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got, oh, okay. One of our speakers is actually from Taylor's, Taylor's alumnus. Very good to have, to meet different people. Yeah, anyone else? Maybe they from other government universities. They were with, yeah. Just so you know. Okay, right. Right, so I just want to know, who is in this meeting, in this workshop that is going to be they're going to be participating in the upcoming UMHackathon. Raise your hands. Anyone else is going? Okay. Have you guys made any preparation on that? Maybe you guys have made an app yourself or a website or maybe some kind of freelance. Okay. All right. Okay. So, okay, without further ado, I would like to mention some rules for housekeeping to make sure smooth operation of our agenda today. So firstly, there will be a Q&A session before we end our session. So for your questions, please hold back for a while the speakers are talking about their presentation, and just jot down your questions somewhere else and then ask it during the Q&A session. And then make sure to stay tuned till the end, as there will be a short briefing on Maxis Young Talent Program. And then, yeah. Okay, so let's say if you want to ask question, make sure to raise hands first and then ask questions shortly after that. If you are giving some sort of permissions to talk, then talk after that. All right. And then please make sure to share this session, as it will be so beneficial for us, especially undergrad students that is going to have some exposure to the industry. And then make sure to follow our Instagram if you haven't follow. It is UMHackathon on IG, just UMHackathon. Alright, and then before we start, I'm gonna introduce our speakers. Together here with us today is Mr. Ananta Krishnan, software developer, former Maxis graduate program associate, which is also Taylor's alumnus, as Mr. Firaus mentioned earlier. And also another speaker is Mr. Muhammad Fidaus, also an software engineer, former Maxis graduate program associate, and a alumni. Wow. Okay. So we from UMHackathon 2025, we would like to express our gratitude for your presence today to share your knowledge and experience. Let's invite our speaker, Mr. Ananta, for our first session. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Hey everyone, how you guys are doing? Let me just share my screen real quick. Okay, today we'll be looking at breaking the mold when innovation meets ambition. So again, my name is Ananda Krishnan and with me is Firdaus. We are going to, I know it's a Friday, all right, and it's 3 p.m. So we're going to check in with you guys. Is that cool? What we're going to do is let me know how you guys are feeling in the chat, all right? Use these emojis to express how they feel right now. So just drop it in the chat. Oh, banyak happy ya? Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at innovation, and we will ask to share some of our experiences. But we're going to make this an interactive section, all right? What happens after this is, as we go through the different points, different stages, feel free to ask questions, okay? We have a session at the end where you guys can ask Firdaus and I questions, but if you have immediate questions, you can put it in the chat or even unmute if it's a really, really burning question that you want to ask, all right? We're going to make this interactive. We hope that this will be inspiring as you guys prepare for your hackathon, which is on early April, right? So today we'll be looking at the overview. We're going to look at what are some of the telco innovation around the globe, what's happening around us, and things that we're doing at Maxis. And then we're going to look beyond innovation. All right, we're going to look at the education part, the adoption of this innovation, this technology that we have. And then we're going to share our experience and our leadership in this area, in this space. Then we're going to open again for Q&A. All right. So let's start. So what's happening around the globe? If you guys know, every talk nowadays from CEOs, you will hear AI. And I believe there are counts on how many times AI is mentioned, which is a good thing, right? If you guys know, there's new Chinese models from DeepSeek and Alibaba. this helps create more competition, and these models are actually more efficient, all right, and it reduces costs as well. So having these neural models to address different problems is great. So we have the AI models, Gen AI models, and then the next evolution is agentic AI. All right. So agentic AI helps you to do certain tasks. And what does this look like if you guys use Gemini? How many of you guys use Gemini? So I just need hands raised because I can't see the chat, full view on the chat. Okay, how many of you guys use Gemini? Just keep it coming. Okay. How many of you guys use Gemini for your assignments? Oh. How many of you guys use Gemini for your exams? Okay, I see hands going down. All right, that's great. So it's a tool, right? It's a Gen AI tool. It's very powerful. It's an extension tool that we have. So there's a new capabilities, which is deep research, right? That falls under agentic. This deep research enables for a deeper understanding when you're doing research. And this is normally used, most universities have enabled it where you are using it as firsthand to just start that innovation process of that writing process, which is great, the ideation part, right? So I encourage you, use it, but use it wisely. Know when to use it, when not to use it as well, all right? So we have the rise of agentic AI, if you guys notice around, and this also solves a lot of a problem, right? We talk about finance problem, healthcare, as well as cybersecurity. It enables real-time data and also monitoring, and also making the adjustments on the spot. All right. And what does this mean, right? There's more sovereign AI. You notice more countries are investing into AI, right? From India to Japan to Singapore. And an interesting shift is when we talk about AI as a whole, it's general AI for everyone. But now we are looking into creating AI for specific local cultures, right? For Singapore, they're doing for their own culture. And we also have it in Malaysia, right? Where for Bahasa, right, to create their own local AI, which is great. And in Malaysia, I think one of the biggest development is the National AI Office that was launched last year. Okay, and this sort of enables a governance on AI and also just pushes AI as well. So what are the key takeaways of what's happening in the world? What's happening in the world is basically now we are able to train model in way cheaper costs, right? It lowers the price points of Gen AI as well, the usage of it, because we have more competition, and enables us to create more stuff, solve more problem as well. So at Maxis, we've been involved in the National AI Office that was launched last year, where we showcased some of our AI innovations that we had internally. All right, we showcased it during the event, and with the government's vision, right, to position Malaysia to be the leader in this AI region, which is great. And later we'll show you more pictures on those particular areas. And in Maxis, if you come to Menara Maxis, beside KLCC, right, you will see Maxis Business Innovation Center. Basically, it's a center developed where it's a digital immersive space where you get to see some of the innovations we do here in Maxis. And also, I think an interesting thing for telco is the Huawei with 5G advances, right? With 5G, it's better data, better speed that helps in all this technology that we're building. And an interesting thing, a special passion of mine is called E-Class. How many of you guys heard of E-Class before? Anyone heard of E-Class before? E-Class is a one. Yeah, I see some reactions. That's great. So E-Class is basically launched by Maxis, all right? It's our digital after-school learning initiative. So we offer free courses, free access for primary and secondary school on mathematics, science, English, right, nationwide. Right, so this helps students in the rural area as well to have free tuition, right? And we also have E-Class Usahawan. These are for entrepreneurs, right? So this is where we empower entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs in rural areas to just develop. So it's all free courses that we do. And one thing interesting about the E-Class is not just we have math, science, and English. We also have AI classes, small classes inside. So your primary school, secondary school brothers, siblings, or cousins, right, can join that and have that free course as well. So let's talk about innovation. Sorry, it's a big topic, right? But what we want to do today is to inspire you. We want to share some of the innovations that we have done, some of the things that we are doing to just inspire you as you go into your hackathon, see how you can problem solve. All right, and let's go. The first one is facial recognition. This facial recognition, you have seen in multiple apps. Basically, it's EKYC, right? To know your customer, you verify whether your document is real, you're a live person, all right, and then you pass the facial recognition. That's right. Most of the apps have it. So one thing interesting about using this facial recognition technology is how we can use it into solving our daily problems. So one way our team here did it was to register guests using facial recognition. What happens is if there's a guest that registered beforehand for an event, for a town hall that we have, they register, and then when they come, they just do facial recognition instead of scanning a QR code and so on, right? So this enables them to be more interactive, and it's faster as well. For example, you can see one of my colleagues over here. He comes, he records himself, he knows which table he's sitting for that particular town hall. And last year when we had our Maxis town hall, well, what happened was we had over 2,000 plus people coming in through the doors. So we set up multiple facial recognition attendants, and we cleared everyone in less than an hour. So it's the speed that we have, right? And it solves your problem, right? Instead of someone picking up their phone, scanning a QR, keying in certain things, we just use the technology that we have. As they walk in, their face is scanned, and the attendance is marked, right? Next up, have you guys been to Maxis Retail Center? I saw some of you guys Maxis user, right? Have you guys been to Maxis Retail Center? So this is one of the, yeah, I see some reactions over there. So this is one of the innovation that was done previously, right, prior to the pandemic, where we realized, now the problem is that in most cases before the pandemic, right, everyone queues up, they line up to collect a number to stand in queue. You get that, right? So we have a queue to collect a number to stand in another queue. So we realized, oh, that's a pain point. How can we simplify this process, right? So that was a problem. That's how Mira came about, Maxis Interactive Retail Assistant. And what happens is the whole experience is now digitalized, right? Where someone can just scan, they have their queue, and you'll see what number you're on. I can go for a coffee break, or even have breakfast or have lunch. And when it's my turn, I'll be informed, and I'll just go back. It saves so much time, and I've personally used this, go for brunch, and when it's my turn, I'll go back in line, all right? So it saves time, it lets us use our time wisely. So there was a problem, and the solution was digital in this sense. I think we even came out in the newspaper sometime before the pandemic. So as a telco, we have a lot of towers, right? So you notice, and how does this normally work is basically someone will actually go up if there's maintenance needed. Someone will actually go up to our towers. They will see what is wrong and they'll fix. The problem for this is that it takes time, right, to travel from one tower, and it takes energy and the height and the risk and so on. So we saw that it was a problem, and we see how we can innovate certain things to fix the problem, right? And we came out with this. So it's we fly the drone. The drone flies to check the tower. What are the effects in the tower? All right, and then only we send someone to go and fix it. So this saves so much time, saves energy as well, right? Because we identify the problem beforehand. So let's just see. So you can see the drone there being flown. All right. Yeah. So this just a quick.
AK, I don't think we are seeing your screen.
Hold on. Yeah. Let me just reshare.
AK, you're on mute.
All right, we're back. Laptop got a bit excited. So it was a test to see whether you guys are paying attention. Thankfully, everyone was responding. So this was on the tower, right? So there was a problem and there's a solution. So this is another personal thing that I really like, a personal project. It's called eClass. So eClass, like I mentioned, right, we have these programs for everyone. And what happened, what we did last year was we did this thing called Misi Jelajah Digital. All right, in collaboration with MOE, we organized this Misi Jelajah, MJD, which was themed on Gen AI for Good. All right, so it's a national level AI competition involving 7,000 students. And we're talking about secondary and primary school students, right, joining this competition. And what we want to do is basically we were sending out our employees into the schools, all right, to 65 schools to upskill the student, all right, and specifically on prompt engineering. So with all the Gen AI tools out there, we wanted them to know how to prompt better. And as you can see, these are some of the images that we have with kids. And I was also on the field, even though I was a developer, I went to school and to just share on prompting. It's really interesting to see what they came up with, right? Because the way you prompt, you can get different results, right? It's your creativity, how much detail you give into your prompting. So let's see some of the results. So they were tasked to do posters, right? And posters with certain conditions and so on. So let me show some of the results that they came up with. Isn't that amazing? See those details and those posters, right? Remember back in school, probably in my time, we had to draw those posters, and now it has shifted how we can prompt to come up with those posters, right? My time was mostly pertandingan mewarna poster, but now it's prompting poster. So yeah, so it's an interesting shift. So that was what we did for the students, but we also did for the teachers, right? And for the teachers, what happened is we conducted a session to show them on lesson plans, as well as quizzes, how to prompt, how this will help them in productivity and just getting proper questions or even faster questions and curricular activities, right? And we had 76 teachers who understood prompt engineering concepts, right? 85% of them were confident using it, practicing it, and even one of them said, hey, I now can use Gen AI to create meaningful lessons, incorporating this to my students for their club activities. This is great because now we spend more time in the meaningful things, right? It's, again, all this Gen AI is a tool, is an extension to help to do what we do the most. And we see here again some of the amazing posters we picked up on the Misi Jelajah. So these are the kids and some of our volunteers, and half of them are developers. So half of them are from the IT sector as well, who's interested to share about this. And talking about E-class, we realized it's about education, right? And what we did was we see how we can help in education, how we can use Gen AI. And an interesting thing, Firdaus and I and the rest of the team, we created is this thing called Cikgu Mira Gen AI. So basically, in summary, it's AI talking to AI. That's it, right? And it's about a particular topic. It's about a particular subject, right? So it helps students learn and improve themselves. So let's see this demo. So in that demo, that example, you guys notice an AI is talking to another AI, it's responding, and then at one point, I ask a question. So it feels like a virtual classroom, right? Just that it's AI, not Firdaus and I in talking here, or probably we're AI. The interesting part about this is whenever Cikgu responds with an answer, Mira, the student on the other end, is asking a follow-up question Gen AI generated based on the response, right? So you get where I'm going here, right? So it's a loop. The teacher answers, the student asks. The teacher answers, the student asks. So it's loops. And we have sat for about easily 3-4 hours listening. So far they were on topic, right? So it's very interesting, and it's something I think that will benefit students as well in different areas. So this was a concept, and why we made it this way, why we made this chat box like a Zoom platform. It was because we had the problem where we wanted to present some innovation in different events, and we realized, how do we capture attention within the first 20 seconds? That's a problem, all right? Imagine you have a big town hall, you have a big event, and people are just walking up and down. Everyone has booths. Everyone is presenting something, right? And if you ask them to come, hey, stop by, look at this, and then you sort of turn on your laptop, navigate to the application, ask them to type in and so on, it takes time, right? But how do you attract that first moment? So what we did was we created this, an AI talking to an AI on its own. As people pass by, when everyone passed by, they're like, hey, there's something different over there, right? It's just talking. Then they stop. That's where we get to explain what's happening. So it was a way for us to capture attention. And these are some of the pictures that we have. I think we covered about 5 to 6 events demonstrating Chegrin Mira to the public, all right, and there's one to the government sector as well. It's just to capture attention, and then we talk about the capabilities and the potential that it has. You can see Firdaus and I on the bottom right, and Dynacon on the top over there. So there was a problem, and that's the solution. I'm talking about Gen AI, and you guys see Dynacon, the real Dynacon over there. Our data and AI team created their own image generation to generate Dynacon. How many of you guys seen Dynacon around? Just please your hands up, drop me an emoji. Let's gauge the room. Okay, I see. Right, so Dynacon is out. If you visit our retail, you will see Dynacon there as well. So what happened is the team created an image generation to put Dynacon in different scenarios, right? For example, you're playing tug of war, all right, or holding a Wi-Fi router. So this was Gen AI generated, right? This is great. Well, what it means is basically now engineers can be artists, some sort. And this was created by one of the team, right? It's an image generation with Maxis logo there embedded. So we talk about all this different innovation. We talk about all this different technology. What's possible? It's great to have all this. I think for most computer science students, we're looking at the next best tech, right? The tech that we build. But what I want to draw your attention now is we're going to shift, right? Building tech is great. Now we're going to shift a bit. We're going to go to innovation adoption. How people are going to adopt the technology that you build, the innovation that you build. And we're going to just focus on 2 things. Awareness and adoption. All right. So what do I mean by awareness? Right? People must first see, right, that your innovation exists. And they understand what's the benefit and how it helps them. All right? We got to shout about it. The second thing is adoption. All right? Innovation is only valuable when people actually use it in the real world. You got to make them embrace that technology that you build. And the one way to actually ensure adoption is as long as we solve real problems. That means instead of we start with problem solving first. What's the problem? Identifying the problem, then we innovate. Right? That's one way to increase adoption. So here in Maxis, what we do to mobilize this awareness and adoption of some of the technologies that we build internally as well is through a group of people. We got different developers from different teams, different groups, different departments, and we created an AI Insight Squad. So this squad is now going to go out to educate and create awareness and create adoption. So one way that we did it was through prompt engineering class. So we created our own prompt engineering class because we have actually our own Gen AI, which Firdaus will share a bit more further as one of this creation. So we have our prompt engineering class. Here what we did is there's these tools. How can we best use these tools? How to get the most achievement from these tools? We started off with just 2 trainers, myself and another colleague of mine, Vic. So then we have grown, and we have actually covered over 800 learners, right, that went into this hands-on class. Because the thing about prompting is not asking questions. I'm sure everyone here has used Gen AI, right? It's not about asking questions. The key is asking the right question. So you guys want to see a sneak peek of how the class might look like? Yeah? Let's go. So I'm going to show you what we typically show in class. On prompting. And this is the illustration I always give. Before I show you, this is the illustration I always give. Gen AI is probably like a genie, right? Have you ever imagined having genie and you have 3 wishes? So you're gonna be very, very careful with those 3 wishes, right? You're gonna be specific in how you ask those wishes. So let's watch this knowledge sharing. As you can see here, Firdaus is doing knowledge sharing about Dexter, the new features of the technology they built, what's there, what's upcoming. So now our users is aware of the features. They know how to best use it with prompt engineering. Now the adoption of the technology is even more, right? Everyone use it because they understand what it means, what it's used for, they know how to use it. And when you build, you have classes and knowledge sharing, but we also use other events, right? Another event that we can share. So with social learning, for example, we have Data and AI Wednesday where we gather every Wednesday and just share latest trends as well. We have different speakers coming in. We have young talent engagement on Gen AI. Prompt engineering as mentioned just now. Our squad has our own town hall, and we also do prompt engineering for students, right? E-class students and Max Talk as well. So that's one way of creating awareness, right? Sharing, talking about it. There's another way where it's a bit more hands-on. And this is through AWS Deep Racer. How many of you guys heard this Deep Racer before? Yes, no, maybe? No worries. So what this is basically is a car, right? Where you use reinforcement learning, where developers can sort of reward the car whenever it drives into track. So when it goes off track, the marks are deducted, all right? So if you're on track, you're rewarded with points. What happens at the end of the day is basically you are then training a model to know how to go on the track. This helps someone who's not familiar with reinforcement learning, machine learning, to somewhat have a bigger idea. It's a hands-on experience, right? So we thought this is great. And then looking at it, the cost to buy the track is 20K. It's a competition, by the way, outside in the different states around the globe. But we realized, okay, the cost is 20K. But then now we need movers to move this whole big track. Okay, if we get movers, what happens is we need permit and we need insurance. Now we need storage space to store this track when it's not in use, right? So that's a problem. But it's a good way of learning. So what happened then is our team created this. Where it's self-made DIY tracks using the same concept with masking tape and measure tape, right? And string. There was a problem. There was some limitation, yes. But let not that be a blocker, right? This was created by one of our head of innovation. So it then helps with learning, right? And what happened is we get to let everyone try this, to learn about this technology, or to learn about the concept, right? In this way, it's the concept. And they participated in the race. So what I'm trying to say here is I just want to encourage you, right? When you build certain technology and sometimes you have certain blockers, don't give up. There's always a way around it. Just want to quickly share some of the experience or some of the things I've learned. Innovating is really rewarding, I guess. Creating something new is really great. It's especially when it solves a real pain point. It helps someone. All right, that's the reward. That's the drive for me. Some of the things I want to share, tips I want to share with everyone is set clear goals. All right, set really what you want to do, and sometimes it's okay to break it down in chunks. All right, and one thing I tell everyone is always learn. Right, learning is lifelong. Once you graduate from university, you'll still be learning. Trust me, it might not be a formal class, but it's still learning, right? As long as you have that attitude of, I'm willing to improve myself, there's so much that I need to know. It's great. Have that attitude, and especially in tech, right? There's new technologies coming up every time. There's new things to adopt to, and let's get practical. 20 minutes to 30 minutes to start the culture. I think it's great whether you're watching a video on a new tech or you're reading something new. But the best way of learning as well is hands-on, right? Like I mentioned just now, they created this AWS Deep Racer. So hands-on. see how you can join a club, all right, join competitions like this one that you guys are in, all right. We hope that you learn something, a new perspective. And for resource, there's a lot of resource out there now with YouTube and everything. There's a lot of free resources. There's also paid resources. So make full use of that. And the thing that, two things to advise or say is, when you build something, look at real world applications, like the real world problems. If it solves a pain point, that's great. That's one great innovations. And embrace failures. It's okay to fail. Trust me, I think when we innovate, we have failed many times, right? But failing is just a good. One of the things I really like, Thomas Edison once said is, I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that don't work, right? And that's fine, right? So we know not to go to that route a bit again. One of my mentors actually said that if you fail fast. So we move to the new part of things, right? And talking about moving, now I'm going to pass the time to a good friend of mine, Firdaus, who will be sharing his experience as well and some of the innovation that he's been doing. So over to you, Firdaus.
Hello. Good morning. I literally just yawned right at the end of your talk, man.
Okay, at the end is good. Not good. No.
Can I get a raise of hands on anyone else who just yawned as well? It's coming up to 12 p.m. on a Friday, guys. So hackathon, can I get a raise of hands on who's excited for the hackathon? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Anyone that is your first time joining a hackathon? Yeah, you? Oh, I guess most of you have done it quite a few times, huh? My first hackathon was in as well when I was a student back then. We had some event in KK2, but it was like over 2 days. So overnight there, just hacking through. Okay, so in the comment section, I want to change up the speed a little bit, make this a bit more interactive. So in the comment section, the chat, can you just write down what are your concerns with the upcoming hackathon? See if either of us can give you tips. What's your concern for the hackathon? What are not ready? Anything, guys? See, let me tell you one tip for a hackathon. I think a lot of us here come from STEM background, right? So quite a few developers. The key thing to a hackathon is find non-developers, not gonna lie. If you're competing with some hackers, trust me, that actually might be your least concern, not gonna lie. So the thing about hackathons is, not only your product needs to sort of like work, not only it needs to have real-world applications, real-world impact, but you gotta be able to sell it. You gotta be able to sell it to your judges. You gotta know how to do business pitch. You gotta know how to do business slides, business proposal. You gotta know how to capture their attention, what actually really sells your product, what's not out there, but what's in your product. You gotta really dial that in. That's the key thing to hackathon. Like, so if you have friends from like business school, go find them, get them into your team, because developers like us were so focused on the technical stuff, right? How to build this, what framework do we use? But we rarely have the time to think about the business side of it. The unfortunate thing about applications that unless you have users, unless you actually have revenue, it's very difficult to maintain such thing. And that's where, I guess, we come to ChatGPT. As you all know, ChatGPT may not necessarily be the most profit-making application for OpenAI. Yeah, they're losing money on like a 200 ringgit. I mean, $200 subscription, right? AK is a subscriber. AK subscribes to ChatGPT Pro. Man's rich. Okay, guys. Oof. Okay, got guys ready for the next section. So hi, my name is Firdaus. I'm a software engineer at Maxis. Primarily at the moment, I'm super into generative AI. I'm one of the earlier pioneers, early adopters of generative AI in Maxis, and I would love to share with you guys what that experience has been like in an organization as big as Maxis. So for this chapter, I'm going to name it From Bok Choy to Dexter. Woohoo! Thank you, Chair. So why bok choy? It's like, wait, what's happening? What's happening? So when we first started exploring generative AI and LLMs in general, that was in the year 2022. And that was during the release of OpenAI's GPT-3, not even 3.5, GPT-3. At the time, it was super early, and everyone across the globe was just super impressed by how much logical the sentences it was able to generate, right? And at that time, we had a simple use case that we can get started to explore this new technology. Well, Maxis, we also do IoT projects, right? For example, like our M Drive, and you've seen other videos from, for example, like our Durian Sense project. What we wanted to do was, can we figure out a way to incorporate LLMs, this GPT technology, into smart agriculture? How can that help the next generation farmers? So what we did was, we prompted ChatGPT-3, OpenAI's GPT-3 model, to impersonate bok choy. So then in the prompt, we added details on what is the best, for example, soil pH for bok choy to grow, the temperature, humidity, and more. So then farmers can just like chat away and say, hey, my bok choy is not growing, it has this issue, it has this color, maybe these certain spots on it. Oh, can you please help me out? That was our very simple use case. Funny enough, it was actually part of a demo to the minister during a public showcase event, and it was super cool. At the time, I just joined Maxis as a fresh graduate, and being able to be part of such a, technically rather small project, but rather big impact, especially considering it was demoed to the minister, it was such an honor. So now bring yourself back to the year 2023, right? When OpenAI just launched. 2023, some of you guys aren't even in university yet, right? Have you all even finished high school at the time? I was in my, I was already working. I'm that old, gosh. At the time, it was super impressive. So compared to GPT-3, it was a lot better, right? It was way more eloquent. It was less robotic. And now, again, we see that with the words that is coming up, how beautiful it sounds, how natural it sounds, we start to think maybe it's time for us to deep dive into this technology again. And the way we approached this was with a very, very, very alpha proof of concept. We built a simple chat app with frameworks such as Gradio and Streamlit. So if you're using Python, if you're very familiar with Python, you would know that these two frameworks helps you to easily build full stack applications, especially with AI. And at the time, the biggest concern that we had was with data security. Anyone remembered the fiasco with Samsung and ChatGPT where they had their code being leaked into the public? Yeah, so that was the thing. With platforms such as ChatGPT, what OpenAI is doing is that they are taking all of the chats and use that to retrain their model to improve it better, which is good for the general public, right? Having more models being more accessible to everyone, that's awesome. That is what helps us to empower, for example, our Cikgu Mira demo. But then again, it wouldn't quite work with internal confidential data. So how do we go about that? What we started doing was we built it ourselves. With Maxis, we have a pool of really, really cool developers. We can build it too. We're not OpenAI, but we can surely build it as well. The second issue that we had with adopting such new technology is definitely cost. And now this will come again in your hackathon where you will be grilled on how much will the solution cost. when you want to sell something, you got to make sure you're trying to target the right market audience with the right pricing system, right? So how do we go about doing that at Maxis was truly to just build it ourselves. So our exploration was focusing on those two main things. One is cost, number two is data. So with the concern on data and cost, what we did was we explored open source models. So open source models, for example, like Falcon 7B, Llama 7B, Llama 13B. We're not even talking about Llama 2, talking about Llama 1. It was super early. We deployed this. The first version was deployed on my very own laptop. A laptop without a GPU. I was running an LLM without a GPU, fully on CPU on my laptop. It was very slow. If you look at the bottom right chat, that's my chat to my boss. I said, this is running on fully open source model locally on my laptop. Took a very long time though. So I remember hacking this myself. So there was no one in Maxis that was very familiar with the whole GPT and LLM technology. And I got the opportunity to pioneer that exploration in Maxis. So I was hacking through all the different articles I could find, but mind you, this was early 2023. There weren't that many articles on actually how to run models, especially locally. But I did it. I did it on my laptop. I remember it was past office hours because I was so obsessed. I was at my aunt's house, just sitting on the floor and just clacking in his laptop, trying to make everything work, right? But that's a very good approach when you're trying to build something new. Don't focus on the full picture, break it down into smaller problems, and then tackle it one by one. Let's say it's cost, for example, when it's cost, can we run it locally? It's security, can we make sure we're not sending data anywhere else when we're processing it? Just have like alpha proof of concept, smaller builds to get you started building your full solution. Now, we deployed that alpha application and we had quite a few people tested it. And the feedback that we got was this actually has potential. With all the buzzwords being spoken of and more trying out ChatGPT, it is clear that LLM and retrieval augmented generation is truly the future. With that motivation in mind, we wanted to build a more proper RAG platform, one where it's designed for the entire organization, the entire Maxis employees to use and to explore. This time, we wanted to be able to support all the different types of documents that we have across the organization, for example, like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and of course, PDFs. Now, there are problems with that, right? Whereby those documents, especially internal documents, they're usually very, very long, right? Multiple pages, could be hundreds, right? And so then we needed a vector database to store like all of that data. Mind you, the technology at the time was new to us, and there weren't anyone at Maxis that was actually an expert in vector databases. So come again, we had a small team running through all of this exploration. They explored quite a few open source vector databases, for example, ComaDB, FICE, which is built by Facebook or Meta, and LaunchDB. We eventually ended up using ChromaDB, for the proof of concept, thanks to good documentation and ease of deployment. We're actually running on ChromaDB for quite some time until we realized that it was a bit too difficult to maintain two different databases. And now actually we've migrated fully into Postgres with the pgvector extension. Now this is big for us as it allows us to easily maintain just one database for both the document data and also the other data, such as user authentication. The easiest way to run ChromaDB is with Docker. And I remember very vividly, right? At that time, I had no idea what was Docker. Mind you, I'm from electrical engineering. I'm from the engineering faculty, not even from computer science. So I've never heard of Docker up until then. Just briefly seeing a few Instagram reels talking about Docker, but at that point, I've never explored Docker. And it wasn't clear to me what was required to run Docker. And when it started to hit, running that command, right, it has Docker Compose. So Docker Compose up, and then seeing ChromaDB running on my laptop, I was like, whoa, that's massive, man. I just did that without, technically at that point, no documentation, because I don't know Docker at all. The thing I really want to emphasize here is that don't be afraid to not know stuff. I feel that that's a very, very, very important trait that a lot of explorers need to have, right? If you don't know stuff, that actually means good, because now you don't know what you don't know. Because a lot of people out there, they don't know anything at all. But not knowing what you don't know actually tells you where you need to go next. So that's a very important takeaway from this. So what were the lessons learned? Coming from our journey from alpha to our beta, number one, Docker is one of the best thing ever. So if any of you developers out there, and if you're taking computer science, have yet to explore Docker, you all have access to ChatGPT, just click away. Within 5 minutes, I'm sure you can get up to speed on what Docker is. It allows you to essentially ship your laptop into production. No more of that concept of, it works on my laptop, but not on my friend's laptop. No. Let's make a virtual laptop, and I'm going to send my friend that virtual laptop for you to run it. It's going to work. Yeah, so containerization, that's what Docker is one of the best thing ever. Number two, we realized that LLM models do require a lot of compute power. When I was running this small 7B and 13B models purely on CPU, it was extremely slow. We actually did try to run it on the GPU, but we had to run an integer 4 quantized model to get it at an acceptable performance. Mind you, we were using a moderately powered CPU for cost purposes, but even then, we realized that such small quantization wasn't actually giving us the intelligence that we really wanted from the LLMs. Number three, LLM is truly a breakthrough in innovation. Its ability to respond eloquently, being able to configure it to be grounded based on a particular context, right? Like, hey, I want you to impersonate a bak choy. And it's like, hi, I'm a bak choy. That is a testament that this technology truly has potential. At this point in time, we only had a few people testing this application. And like I said, we wanted to build something a bit more, refined application that even the CEO and CIO would use. So what might that be? Introducing Dexter. So Dexter, the name, is adopted from the old Cartoon Network cartoon, all right? Not the Netflix one, all right? Dexter, the evil boy genius, AK and I are slightly old. Those are the cartoons back in our days. Dexter is now our de facto LLM and reachable augmented generation RAG exploration platform. And I want to emphasize that on the exploration part. Dexter is not the end goal, it's an enabler. It's to enable everyone in Maxis to explore LLM and RAG for their own workflows. Dexter is one of the very few actually projects in Maxis that actually has a very, very cute mascot, as you can see. And we actually have a t-shirt to go with it. So if you ever come around KLCC and see some guys wearing Dexter t-shirt, yeah, those are our people. So this is what Dexter looks like. This is the beautiful user interface in our Maxis theme. Everything here is our Maxis theme colors. The key point...
We are still seeing your presentation and not Dexter yet.
Oh yeah, no. We're just on the presentation.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm putting the UI in the slideshow. So the key point of the focus here is, instead of having threads of conversation, right, we are approaching the whole application slightly differently compared to what ChatGPT is doing. Here we are focused on building what we call workspaces, where each workspace will serve a different purpose. For example, you could have a workspace solely for coding copilot. We could have a workspace solely for, say, document analyzing, not even that. For example, to analyze receipts, analyze policies, You can have different workspaces for dedicated teams, dedicated projects as well. This is in line with our effort to explore various prompt engineering techniques for different use cases. Mind you, we want to empower everyone in the organization to try this out. In the background, the Dexter development team is also experimenting with various prompts and retrieval techniques. And we're all doing that all in background without the rest of the organization knowing. All they know is they can upload documents in here, can process every kind of documents, for example, Microsoft Word, Excel, PDFs, and they can then ask questions based on the document. But the cool thing is, we've been really drilling down. For example, when you're creating workspaces today, we're actually building that, we're automating, prompting it for you. When you create a workspace, just tell it what your workspace needs to be. We get an LLM to generate the base prompt for you, and automatically you have a super dedicated workspace ready for that use case. When you say, I want a coding copilot, then it knows, okay, I got to make sure when I'm responding, I'm covering all the edge cases, fixing all the bugs, analyze the code, making sure packages are updated. Yeah. So those are the innovations that we're building part of Dexter that actually is not been available in ChatGPT that we're super proud of. Now, once again, Dexter is an exploration platform. That's very important. So when y'all are pitching for your hackathon, sometimes you got to drill that down. See what I'm doing here? Telling you guys that Dexter is an exploration platform. It's not the end goal. Just want everyone in the organization to explore LLM, to explore RAG, and see how that fits in their workflow. And to do that, the one thing that we're very proud of is we were providing access to various LLM models unrestricted. So if you're not on like ChatGPT Plus or ChatGPT Pro, you cannot even use, say, OpenAI O3 that much. You can't even use GPT-4o that much. But if you all join Maxis, you can get all of these models fully unrestricted access. No limit, no daily limit, no such thing. We have models from, for example, Anthropic Claude all the way to 3.7, the new one. We even have DeepSeek R1 with its thinking capabilities to support open source models, providing Llama models as well, Llama 3.2, especially the SLMs. With, for example, as you can see that the 1B model and 3B model, those models can be big when we're talking about running such models on our mobile devices. And obviously, we will have OpenAI as well. Now, you might see some blank spaces in that picture over there. What could that be? Any ideas? Are we building our own models? Maybe, right? Maybe, who knows? Who knows? Now, at the moment, Dexter only has a chat interface similar to ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. And we acknowledge that that may not be the ideal interface for all use cases. And that's where our incubator program comes in. So as members of Maxis starts using Dexter to help with their workflow, maybe analyze this, analyze that, do this, do that. The end goal that we really want is that for them to come and say, hey, this is working in Dexter, but we need it to be a bit more optimized. And they will start building a dedicated solution to solve that problem, a dedicated solution for that particular use case. They will grow beyond Dexter. Yeah, and for that, we also have a Gen AI Center of Excellence team in Maxis, which I'm a part of, and we're always ready to provide ideas and consultations on how to better leverage LLMs and RAG techniques for the entirety of the organization. Now, Dexter was built in-house fully. We have right now, there's about 2 developers. No, we have 3. AK started pushing PRs. So mind you, AK is actually from a different department as I am. So Dexter now is a cross-department effort. We're all working together in Maxis. We are Maxis. So Dexter was built fully internally, and it wasn't made known to the public until, ta-da, during the National AI Office was when we actually brought Dexter in public. And this was massive because we had ministers coming in, and because this was a government event, there was a lot of media coverage on it as well. So being able to have that honor, right, to see our work, the user interface, all the fine tuning being presented at such scale, it was truly, truly, truly a great honor. Now, let's talk about something else. Should I be whispering the entire time for this? Okay, maybe not. So one of the biggest demo that we did during the National AI event was its ability to take in voice input instead of typing. And what really enabled that for us was the OpenAI model Whisper. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The Maxis model Whisper. So internally at Maxis, we actually have built our own what we call an STA model. STA stands for speech to text and speech text analytics. We receive tons of calls from our customers, right, to our hotline 123. Could be, most of our calls are actually compliments, right? They call to say, Maxis is so good. I love Maxis. Your fiber is the fastest. Network is the fastest. Is that true, guys? Should I call up? Someone complained about Maxis being a bit slow earlier. Right, so we wanted to be able to serve our customers better. And what better to do that than to analyze all those calls actually, right? Now with the rise of speech-to-text models, for example, like OpenAI's model that was truly open source, that's amazing from OpenAI. What we realized is that those models weren't actually fine-tuned for Manglish. Right? We Malaysians don't actually speak like American or British English, right? We like to mix and match. So a lot of the models out there actually were very bad with Manglish. If you look at the sample at the bottom, on the left is the sample transcription from the available open models that are out there. On the right is our manual transcription. Someone was listening and typing it out. You can see, for example, check dekat saya ke was what the model actually thought it was. But saya ke actually should have been center. Because we like to mix, right, Malay and English. That is a big problem for a lot of the open source models that are already out there. So what do we do? So when you all join Maxis, I'm not really drilling this in, right? Come on guys, join Maxis. So Maxis has a dedicated team for data and AI. We call it the data and AI department, where they do fancy data AI stuff. And one of them is to actually grab the Whisper model and fine-tune it. So our friend's name is Brenton. He fine-tuned it across 4 GPUs. Oh, anyone interested in playing GPUs, you'll come to Maxis, so I can play with GPUs. He was training the model across 4 GPUs, and I think for about a week. And what we got out of it was our transcription through that fine-tuned model for Manglish based on our customer service calls was at 70%, and we're doing way, way better than any of the available solutions out there. So that's one of the things that we're really proud of. When we demoed it during the National AI Office launch, a lot of the government members can tell that this is truly a viable solution that Maxis is providing. And the model is actually very, very super accurate. So and that actually marks the end of my sharing. So just drilling down on the last few parts. Number one is I want to pick at your screen, so I'm going to stop. Yeah. so the conclusion I really want to share is, number one, don't be afraid to not know stuff. When you not know stuff, embrace it. Not knowing stuff is better than not knowing anything. Number two, explore. If you're the kind of guy that has never reached the 3rd page of Google search, go there, man. Go to the 4th, go to the 5th, keep on reading. Number three, one of the things that really helped me out through my exploration, lonely exploration, sort of trying to figure out all this LLM stuff, is that Code is actually for us to read, even though it's someone else's code. As complex as OpenAI's code may be on GitHub, it's actually written by humans. And we're all humans out here. So we should be able to read it and understand it as well. So any code that you can see, that you can get hands-on your laptop, is yours. So read through it, analyze it, and most importantly, learn from it. I can't stress how much building Dexter has been so how do I say, Dexter's development has actually skyrocketed after we all actually started reading other people's code on the internet. With the rise of LLM, everyone is trying to build like a ChatGPT clone, right? And what we did was, hey, that's open source. Let's read it, see what they're doing differently. Let's read that, see what they're doing differently. It's mind-blowing how much you can learn from reading other people's code, and that's something that a lot more people should start doing. Okay, if you guys are ready, I think it's a bit too long for us to talk. Let's do some Q&A. You all have any interesting questions? Anything that piques your interest? Anything you'd like to know about Maxis? Any advice that you all need or want? Hit us up. Come on. The floor is yours. Come on, guys. It is best if you can open the camera and start interacting via video as well. Question, guys? Anybody has any questions?
It's the best time to ask a question. All right. So, no question is a wrong question.
Yep. Let me ask ourselves. It's echo. Okay, let me ask. Let me raise a question. If I'm a first-year student, how should I better prepare for the workforce? Right? I think if I was in the first year, I would have asked that. The one advice I would like to highlight is you gotta focus on what you can focus on. You gotta focus on what you must focus first, right? While you'll see some of the friends are probably building tons of side projects, but then they might be lacking in actual class performance. You gotta do that first. Like focus on your GPAs and GPAs first. Right? That's what you are in school for. So you gotta do that first. But keep on challenging yourself, right? When you're in class, the lecturer is talking about something, try to go slightly beyond that particular chapter, slightly deeper. Be those kids in class that actually goes to the lecture and ask advanced questions after the class. Yeah. Because in work, the technical understanding is actually super important. That's what really sets you apart from any other graduates, right? From any other developers. You really want that very, very deep understanding. And you never know. Maybe one day you'll be working in OpenAI, right? You need to figure out graphic drivers and how to scale training models across a GPU farm. Is there any personal tips or guidance if you were to explore in AI? See, you want to take one again? I want to highlight the word here, explore. So I'm assuming, like I say, personal tips, like it's not really for school. Number one, get into the correct mindset. Rephrase that. Find your motivation. Anything that piques your interest. Maybe you're trying to solve, for example, waste management. Maybe you're trying to solve, say, noise pollution. Maybe you're trying to solve CO2 levels, right? You find that first. That human motivation, that human touch is what's really going to help you to explore deeper and further. So that's number one. Number two, just do it, man. You know that Nike motto on just doing it? Just do it. If you don't know how to do it, just commit. Yeah, that's an old concept that we have in Maxis. I don't know how, but I commit. I think some of you guys here might have heard it before, because I recognize some names in the list here. I don't know how, but I commit. Yeah. So just do it. Just start doing it. If you can find, for example, open source projects on the internet, open it up. Even if it's in a foreign language, right? Open it up, try to read through it. We have ChatGPT today, you can just copy paste and get it to like explain the code for you. AK, you want to chip in?
Yeah, I agree with Firdaus, right? Sometimes we wait too long on the idea, we sit on it, and we don't do it. My head of innovation once told me, we do first, then we think later, right? Because we need to get it out there, right? We solve the problem. So I agree with him, just do. And it's okay. I guess if I was a student, this is what I wanted to hear previously. It's okay not to know everything. You're not supposed to know everything. As long as you want to know and evolve like what Firdaus said. Let's read the next question. What advice would you give a student or fresh grad looking to work in AI at a telco like Maxis? Ooh. Can I ask you a follow-up question? Why specifically AI? Who's that guy? You want to chip in? Put in the chat. Maybe while you answer, we can go to the next one first. Someone said, because it's intimidating as some people are just so good. That is a good thing. Right? If you're in a room and you notice people are better than you, that's a good thing. It means you're able to learn from the other person. You're able to challenge yourself to improve yourself, right? If you're in the room and you feel you're the only one best, you're the best, we have two problems. There's either you're delusional that you're the best, because in this world, there will always be a better developer than you, right? There's always going to be someone better than you, right? It is intimidating, and that's fine, but use that, channel that energy, right? Make use of that, and always it's okay to ask, right? It's okay to learn, and you probably can even learn for that person who are so good. Yeah. What else you want to chip in?
Yeah, I like that concept of being in a room where you feel like you're the smartest. That's definitely a problem. One of my experience in that situation was back in electrical engineering school. So there was this lecturer, Prof. Mahmood. I'm not sure if there's any electrical engineers in this hall right now. So what he would do in first day of class, right, he would talk like very, very complex stuff immediately. So we were just first day in this subject, right? And we can tell that he's going to spit out all those different jargon, all the different terms, as if we have been doing this for the rest of our lives. So he was like 100% really up there, right? Really, really smart, talking, like saying all those jargons. I'm going to read it down here. But at the end of that semester, he was still up there, maybe even higher, right? Because he was doing his own research and stuff. But we actually improved. We were like, okay, now things starting to click. We were like here, like 50%. 50% of the time we understand what he talks about. Previously, we don't understand anything that he was talking about. So that's good. Being intimidated is good, but gotta use that to your advantage. Use that to propel you forward, to try more things, to fail at more things so you can learn more things. Yeah. Because I'm majoring in AI, that's the answer. That's your reply to that.
Okay, that's great, right? I think during our time, we didn't have a major in AI per se. Probably our research was in AI. What would you give students looking into advice? What advice, right? I guess start creating your own projects, right? Whether small projects, incorporate the AI elements, and the latest, keep updated to the latest technology, right? We have moved from predictive AI, we have Gen AI now we have agentic AI. So you don't have to start with agentic AI, start with different levels, but try exploring this latest technology as well. Try creating those small projects. Firdaus, what's your thought on this? Want to share anything?
Yeah, personally, I've been conducting quite a few interviews for fresh grad positions, associate positions. I think one trait that we're all really looking for is that hunger for knowledge, that attitude of just committing when you don't know how, that bravery-ness to go deep into the darkest void. That's what we're really looking for. You see, number one, definitely stay in school, focus in school, right? Get your CGPAs up. But the thing about universities is that it's actually not preparing you for the workforce. That's not what universities are designed for. It's designed for post-graduation studies, right? That's why you have your FYP and stuff. It's trying to get you, invite you to do a master's degree, to take out your PhD. So when advice comes in, for example, how to get you ready to work in a telco like Maxis, definitely you're going to start to build beyond what's required in class. Start doing side projects during your free time, during semester breaks. That's definitely one thing. One thing I want to touch is to work in AI. So while we actually have a data and AI department in Maxis, AK, for example, here, he trains model, he finds data, he pre-processes data, but AK is not in that team. Now, I'd like you guys to open your mind, right, to become truly a developer, or what we call as an engineer, for example, right, where we use AI as a tool to solve a particular problem. Now, the best AI engineers are actually also full-stack engineers. The best software engineers are actually software engineers, where they take different technologies merely as tools to solve different problems. But you're majoring in AI, so yeah, I understand that that's definitely your strength. So one thing, if you're majoring in AI, for your side projects, build other stuff. Build normal applications that your software engineer boys are doing. Build normal applications that your CS students are doing. Build those things on top of your AI side projects as well. Yeah, that would really, really set you apart from any other graduates. Next question. What are some of the biggest challenges Maxis faces when implementing AI solutions? That's a super good question. Like previously mentioned, number one is cost. Right, number one is cost. So different solutions to that, right? Like open source models, being able to actually get enterprise dedicated instances of those models. That's one of the solutions that we're actually using, cost. Number two is adoption. With AI solution as new as like ChatGPT, trying to get it adopted across the entire organization was a challenge because not many people know that, hey, they can actually do this with an internal application. They can do that. They can prompt it like this. They can prompt it like that. And that's where trainings, talks, like what AK presented earlier, actually comes in super handy. Number three, security. Data security is a massive thing in enterprises. And that's something you gotta be mindful when implementing or developing new solutions for any enterprises.
Yeah, there's a good one for those. Here's another question. Will AI take over computer science related jobs? I think that has been a debate, right? Personally, what I think is it's just an evolution of our work. For example, like how we now have libraries, right, to help us build our application faster. We have frameworks, right? So with this, it helps us to develop things faster, and we can really focus on what's important, like what the customer really needs, what's the real pain points over there. This is what I feel. Short answer. Keep your questions coming as we answer them. Are there any platforms or websites you recommend for staying updated with current AI trends? And for someone who's a total beginner, how would you suggest getting started on their AI learning journey since there's so many information on the internet? That's a very good question. Firdaus, want to start first?
So actually this comes nicely with Huisan's question. How does Maxis stay ahead of AI trends and remain competitive? That's, yeah, you all are asking very, very good questions right now. Number one, YouTube. Personally, that's one of the easiest ways to get updated, right? Just YouTube. For example, I'll send some of the links in the chat. There's tons of YouTubers. You can just start watching. You're covering different articles on different new releases. That's one. Number two would be, sorry, what's the question? Oh, sorry, you're just staying updated. Yeah. Oh, and remain competitive. How do we remain competitive? How do we remain competitive? I think with new technologies, one important thing that we are trying to approach slightly differently is that not necessarily to be the first out there. We sort of want to take like the Apple stance, right? Trying to really find real world use cases. Trying to really find real world impact that we can actually contribute. And that's how we want to remain competitive. From a developer perspective, what we're doing back here in the office, we try every single thing. any new technology, we try it out. A new model comes out, we try it out. A new prompting technique comes out, we try it out. We're just trying things out. That's how we try to remain competitive as a developer, right? When we don't know stuff, we try it out.
Yeah. So talking about trying stuff, right? I think the second question is, how would you suggest getting started in AI learning journey? Try stuff. You don't have to know everything. I guess the easiest one is, what's the current pain point in your campus, right? Could I try to build a solution in it? The tricky thing about this is your solution might not necessarily need AI. It can use AI, so you can see how you can implement that. All right. Don't go in creating solutions. Don't go in, okay, I need AI to create my solution. Right? See what's the problem, understand it properly, then you go with it. So I would say, to start the journey, like what Firdaus said, watch videos, just learn about it, but just do the bit of the hands-on. Trust me, I guess once you implement what you study virtually, right, visually, hands-on, you'll remember better, right? And what I always do is, once you have done it, share that knowledge. And I guess that's why Firdaus and I always we agree to do on these talks, because we like sharing what we learn, what we have gained over time. Right, that's a good way of really learning as well, remembering. All right, share. Firdaus, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, on starting your AI learning journey, one way I would highly recommend is you go on GitHub, and that's that term. What's it called? GitHub Awesome, for example, Awesome AI Projects. Is that the thing? Going through my screen actually. So just find on GitHub lists of simpler projects to start, right? For example, what are we talking about? Are we talking about, for example, training a neural network? Find us one simple example to get you started. That's really one way to do it. Are we talking about, say, reinforcement learning? Find a simple example on GitHub. Skim through the code. It's fine. Reading other people's code to learn. That's awesome. Do that. You don't have to necessarily write code yourself to learn, right? Just by reading, you actually will be learning a lot. So definitely do that. Number two that I would highly recommend to get you really, really deep into this is, like I mentioned earlier, where you find a particular problem that you personally want to solve. Find that motivation in you to do something. For example, someone has been stealing, I don't know, your clothes, right? When you hang it at college, right? You want to figure out who's been doing that. You put a camera there, and then you run through, for example, a YOLO model to analyze all the camera frames and picking that up. Maybe use an LLM to analyze that photo. Put a bounding box on the different people that you detect. That's a very good use case, and trust me, when you start building that, what you might think like, hey, I found a simple open source project on this that might you take, maybe 2-3 hours to run. Turns out you'll be working on this for the next 6 months trying to improve it. Maybe next thing you know, you're the founder of a startup. Who knows? So 2 ways to approach it, I'd say. One is just find simpler basic tutorials to get you started to understand all those concepts. That's number one. Number two is find that motivation in you to solve a particular personal problem. Okay. The next question is, Very interesting. Can you share some Maxis job interview tips? Aisha will have a session in a bit to share you about all the different Maxis offerings for fresh graduates especially. But here's an interview tip, not just for Maxis, right? Number one, I would say, is to bring character. You see, if I'm the hiring manager, if I'm doing interviews, right? Trust me, I've been doing interviews for, I don't know, let's say in that one day, maybe you're the 10th candidate. So ideally, try to bring a character that makes you very memorable. Maybe have like a tagline of when someone says, hey, start by introducing yourself. Have a tagline. That would be so cool. For example, I would say I'm an AAC engineer. Can anybody guess what's an AAC engineer is?
Can I ask on that question?
You want to answer that question?
Can I answer that? Is it
Yeah, go ahead.
anything also can engineer?
That's correct. Someone's been looking through my LinkedIn account. Yeah. So sometimes I would start my interview saying, hi, I'm Firdaus. I'm a software engineer at Maxis, but I prefer to be considered as an AAC engineer. I consider myself as an AAC engineer. I'm an anything also can engineer. You want me to do Python? I can learn Python. You want me to do Java? I can learn Java. I focus on solving solutions, making the world a better place, one letter code at a time. See, that's one way to introduce yourself. It's really going to set you apart from any other candidate. That's one. Number two is definitely try to build a portfolio. Awesome, amazing confidence. Nah. Try to build an amazing portfolio, right? So it's cool stuff. That's awesome. But especially being a fresh grad, you want to see that hunger, right? So what are you guys doing during your free time? Are you learning anything or not? Are you doing any side projects? Are you following any courses, any certifications? Those are very, very good traits that a lot of companies are looking for.
AACC. AAC, yeah? I think that will be a new course shortly, yeah? So, yeah, thanks for that. So we're gonna do one more question. All right, last question before we pass it to Aisha. Anyone? You can raise your hand, unmute, or you can share the question in the chat as well. Last question.
Guys, AC is trademark, guys. Please, please. That's mine. I'm trying to sell myself also, please. And this suggestions for small projects. What are some common mistakes beginners make for developing a small project? I want to go first. Number one, common mistake is not starting.
Yeah, I was one of those. I have the idea, didn't start. So I guess common mistake is also sometimes we over-engineer it, we overcomplicate things. For example, if it can be just a simple UI, start. That's okay, right? And very important. Write down what you're doing. Because 3 months from now, when you look back, you won't remember what that is, right? But yeah, just start. What is this? APO, apapun okay. Oh, local touch, not bad, huh? Right, Firdaus, anything else?
Yep. So one common mistake that a lot of us actually make for beginners especially is not knowing how to use Git. Y'all gotta learn how to use Git. Learn how to use Git. Yeah. The thing about code bases is that from time to time you will start to explore, okay, maybe I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that, right? And then you are hoping that Control Z button works. The next thing you know, you can no longer undo. Yeah, and you want a code that is from 3 days ago or 1 week ago. So one thing I definitely highly recommend y'all to learn to become a very, very good developer is to learn on how to use Git. Learn it to the point where you feel like you need Git even if it's not for coding. You just need that version tracker, that versioning control. Yeah.
So I guess you've heard enough of us talking. But if you do have any questions later on, you can connect with us. We're going to pass the time to Aisha to further explain of MGPs and what we have here at Maxis. So over to you, Aisha.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or see me all right. I think if I can get a thumbs up would be helpful. Okay, I think I see it too. Thank you. Just give me a moment to share my slides. So that you guys can see my slide with Young Talent Program. I think by now you would have heard about how awesome our Young Talent programs are from Firdaus and also AK. And like the host mentioned earlier, both of them are a product of our Maxis graduate program. That's one of the different programs that we have. Other programs that we have are the scholarship program, internship program, as well as our protege training program. In case you were not impressed enough by AK and Firdaus, we do have other graduates and current students who have been part of the Young Talent Program or still part of the Young Talent Program to the different programs that I mentioned. So we have had, we have scholars who have then worked full-time with us. We have had interns as well who have come in to do their internship with us. So there are different touch points that you can explore when it comes to being part of the Maxis Young Talent family. And I know that there are some of you who are not students. Of course, these programs are also open to the rest of you. But since this event is organized by we have intentionally displayed some faces of that have been part of our programs. Let's go into our programs a bit deeper. Our scholarship is open to undergraduate students who are in their first year. And what's interesting about our scholarship is that it is open to students at any point of their first year. So even if they're in their 11th month of their first year, if it's still within the application period, they can still apply for the scholarship program. And the scholarship will cover the entire duration of that first year program. So if it's a 3-year program, the scholarship will cover tuition fees and living expenses of your 3-year program. And if it's 4 years, then 4 years it is. Right? Aside from financial assistance, the program also offers internship placement and permanent placement upon graduation. Right? And we also open to, we have had many scholars from STEM courses, so engineering, IT, computer science, and we also have had scholars from other from programs outside of STEM, so like business, psychology. So it really is open to all sorts of disciplines. More than anything, we're looking for future talent of the company. And typically, the application takes place during the 3rd quarter of the year. I think I see a hand being raised. Is it okay if we attend to questions after my sharing? Okay, I'm going to take it as a yes. Right. So as for bring on the internship, so we have internship roles available all year round. I know that some companies may practice having certain intakes, therefore you have to wait for certain times of the year to apply. So it's different here where we have roles available all year round on demand by from the managers. So as and when our teams, our managers look for interns to support whether their projects or their day-to-day, these roles then become available. So what that means for candidates is that whenever they are ready to apply for their internship, they can easily come to our career page and look for roles that are available at the time. At the same time, we also encourage candidates to also share their interests with us, and we can then help kind of matchmake what you're looking for to what roles that could potentially become available a few months from when you reach out to us. So don't be limited by what you see available on the website. We're always happy to explore and help you out with your internship journey. Typically, our internship role or our internship experience is a minimum of 3 months. This is to ensure that you get a fulfilling experience out of the internship, and it's a paid internship, and we also guarantee a 1 day of leave or personal time off, if you want to call that, for each month of your internship duration. I know this can become helpful, especially for some of you who may need to find some time for either going back to uni to attend to some matters. Therefore, we have allocated 1 day of leave for all of our interns for each month of your internship period. Aside from that, the internship offers you a hands-on learning experience. So unlike certain companies, different companies have different ways of doing things. But in our case, our interns are exposed to real work, real projects by our teams. So we don't create an assignment just for the intern, right, or a project just so that the intern can do during that internship. We actually want them to be part of the work that we do, the projects that we do, right? You'll be given a defined role when you join as an intern, right? We encourage our interns to set goals for themselves, not only goal that aligns with what they're doing at work, but also what they're hoping to achieve throughout their internship that aligns with their career aspirations. So we really encourage that conversation between interns who are new to the company and their managers to sit down and try to understand. We want to understand what you want to achieve, and hopefully that's something that we can offer so that your internship experience is a fulfilling one by the time you finish your internship. The next program that I want to share about is our graduate program. So again, this is not something unfamiliar. I'm sure you would have seen other companies also offering graduate program. It's a program that is aimed at fresh graduates or graduates with less than 2 years of work experience. So like I mentioned before, AK and Firdaus are both our graduate program associates who have completed the program and have now progressed into a full-time career at Maxis. So this program now is a 2-year training program, right? And throughout that 2 years, there will be rotation across different departments within a particular division, as well as one rotation outside of this division. The objective of this program is to create future leaders for the company. So on one hand, we do want our graduate program trainees to be experts in their field, but at the same time, we also want them to be immersed in the business. And to be immersed in the business is beyond just their specialty. They are also expected to understand how the business functions beyond just their area of expertise, right? There is also training that's provided throughout the program, training in the form of discussions, forums, classroom training, workshops. We also offer mentorship and buddy program where seniors can share their experience, and hopefully that will help prepare our trainees for their future career at Maxis. And then finally is our Protégé program. Protégé is a program that you might have heard of that is also offered by other companies. We at Maxis also offer Protégé program. It's a 1-year training program. Again, similar to all of our other programs, right? Very much hands-on experience. And within this 1 year, trainees of this program gets to be attached to one particular team where they'll get to immerse themselves in a particular area of work or a department. Unlike our graduate program, this protege program does not guarantee a job after the completion of that program, but it offers a 1-year-long work experience that will hopefully help those who complete this program move into a role, a permanent role after. So be it within Maxis or even outside Maxis. Okay. And I think this would probably be very helpful for some of you who are interested in pursuing any of these programs. Our graduate program application happens 2 times in a year. So the first one is going to take place sometime soon. Hopefully by April onwards is when we will receive applications for the next intake. And then there will be another application window during the 3rd quarter of the year for those who are planning to start later in the year. As for internship, like I mentioned before, it's all year round. It's as easy as you going onto a website and you can see roles that are currently available. I think right now I can tell you there are probably around 8 vacant roles, and these roles come in and go very quickly. And finally, for scholarship, the application window should happen around, again, 3rd quarter of the year, right? Between July to September is a good time for you guys to look out for announcements about the scholarship application. So application for not just a scholarship, but all of our programs take place online. So it's as simple as you going online, you see it, you like it, you just fill up the form and your application is in. All right. I hope I've covered all of the basic details of our programs. I wish I had more time to share more, and I wish I could see your faces and at least see reactions to the different programs that I've shared about. But we still have a bit of time. I think this is where I pause and ask if any of you have any questions. You can switch on camera and ask, or you can even leave it in the chat box and ask me. I think there was a question earlier from someone who raised his hand. But I feel that I was very clear with my sharing. But if not, I encourage you to check out our website. You'll find more of this information on our website. Like I said, for our internship roles, they're available right now. You can check it out, have an idea of the kind of roles that we have, what the application process is like, what the requirements are. And then if you follow our social channels, you'll get to see announcements about the graduate programs and graduate program and scholarship program, right? I'll end it with what our social channels look like. You can find us on LinkedIn. Just search for Maxis. On Instagram, look for Live at Maxis. Specifically, we have many Maxis channels, but specifically for careers and the young talent space, we have a dedicated channel of Live at Maxis. And then finally, our YouTube channel, Live at Maxis. There you will get to see stories about our people. We've got internship or intern experiences. We have people from different departments, different divisions, talking about the work that they do and the experience they have at Maxis. So I hope you check us out online, and I hope I get to see some of your applications maybe coming in for the different programs. I think this is where I pass it back to our MC.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much, Mr. Ananta, Mr. Firdaus, and also Miss Aisha for the great sharing session just now. So let's all give a big applause to them, to Maxis, for realizing our workshop today. Their sharing session today for sure has opened doors and possibilities for our fellow students to start exploring and initiate their own projects soon. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to scan the QR code and fill in the attendance form. And the attendance form should be required only by UM students to fill it. If you're not a UM student, then no need to scan the QR code and register. Okay. So before we wrap up our event, let's have a nice photo with our speaker to capture this great moment. Ladies and gentlemen, please open your camera and smile. But before that, you guys can use the background we shared in the Discord. The same one that we are using right now. Okay, I'm assuming some of you guys are still registering through the QR code, so we will wait for a bit. And if you guys didn't manage to find the background, do let us know. But it should be in the, what is it? It should be in the announcement. If you guys in the Discord. Yeah, it's in the announcement channel in the UMHackathon Discord channel. Discord server. Okay. We wait for another minute. Yeah, it should be this one. Okay, so it shows 5 PM already. So okay, so yeah, you guys can also click the link there and to get the background photo. Okay, so yeah, so I assume that's all. I think we can start capturing the picture. Okay, so can we stop the presentation before that? Okay, so we're gonna take a picture. So maybe firstly so let's just do a simple smile for first. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So technical, okay. And then is there any any specific pose from the Maxis side you guys want us to do? Yeah, is there maybe specific pose to do? Is there any?
Do we have any?
No.
Okay.
Let's not start one now.
Okay. Alright, so we just do a simple another one that is quite informal. So yeah. Alright, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Alright, so again, thank you so much, Mr. Ananta, Mr. Firaus, and Miss Aisha for their time and effort to share their knowledge with us. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude towards you. We sure hope to meet and collaborate with you again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for participating today, gaining rich input and newfound inspirations. Don't miss our next workshop or tech talk sessions. as for now, thank you and goodbye for attending this meeting. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Can I have the QR code for a moment? I missed out on it.
The QR code.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
QR code. QR code.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Can you scan it now?
Yeah, now I can scan it already. Thank you, thank you.
All right. Welcome.
Next.